Are you telling me
he's dead, Eve?
Rex is dead? The anger that had fueled her mad packing spree all morning trickled from her, as if she were a sieve full of holes, leaving behind tiny grains of sorrow bumping against the numbness inside her.
We're over the other side of the gulf. The police are coming.
Spyro's voice went on, but Eve could only hear the loud rushing sound in her head. Then Spyro was saying her name again.
Eve, they're here. I have to go. I'll call you back soon.
Okay.
Should I phone Pam? You shouldn't be alone.
I'll be okay. She ended the call and hung the phone back on the hook, then reached for it again. She'd have to call Rex's parents. Their only son, their pride and joy. They'd be inconsolable. She put the phone back. Not yet. She had to give herself a moment. Today she'd finally made up her mind to leave her duplicitous husband, but instead, he'd left her. A strange sensation burbled deep inside her and rose up. She clapped a hand to her mouth, but the force of it was too strong, squeezing between her fingers and erupting, a crazy cackling noise. She took a deep breath and forced herself to be calm. Spyro had said something about a winch falling. Had he given her more detail? She hadn't heard everything. Once more she reached for the phone, and once more she stopped. She had no idea where Spyro had been calling from. She looked around the kitchen. The old navy jumper Rex wore around home was draped over the back of his chair, and a packet of his cigarettes lay on the desk among piles of papers and envelopes. A bottle of rakia sat on the bench. A sticky ring remained beside it. He'd overfilled her glass, and she'd had to lean down and suck up the first mouthful. Little signs of Rex were everywhere. Before Spyro's phone call, she'd been stoically ignoring them, avoiding Rex's things and grabbing as much of hers and the boys as she could. She wanted to be gone, well before he returned. She hadn't been moving far away, just to a friend's beach shack, a temporary stopgap until she could sort things out with Rex. It was the washing that had finally done it. After the boys had gone to school, she'd begun the mountain of washing that had been languishing around the house. She'd do anything needed if it related to their prawn fishing business, but housework bored her. When she'd come to the pile of shorts and jeans, she'd carefully emptied pockets. Arlo often had papers folded in his, covered in his scribbled diagrams and workings out, and Zack had his usual assortment of string, empty lolly wrappers, and a plastic fishing float. It was what she'd found in Rex's pockets that had sent her head spinning and her heart thudding. In one was a crumpled receipt from a motel in a town further up the coast. The date was from 2 nights earlier, the night he'd said he was spending on the trawler, getting it ready for the start of the season. He'd paid cash. And in the other pocket was a set of earrings wrapped in a scrap of paper. They were gold loop earrings for pierced ears. Eve didn't have pierced ears. There was a phone number scrawled across the paper. She dialed the number. A woman answered. Eve gasped. "Hello?" the woman said again.
"Who is this?"
Eve asked, but in her heart she already knew.
"Eve?"
The voice was little more than a whisper now. Eve dropped the phone back on its cradle. Bile rose in her throat as she ripped the paper to tiny shreds. Then she'd gone to their bedroom and started pulling things out of his drawers. Tucked at the back of one, she found a box of condoms, open, with several missing. Eve had had her tubes tied a few years after Zack was born. They never used condoms. All of the horror of 2 years prior had come rushing back. The discovery that Rex had had an affair then had nearly destroyed her. The town had buzzed with gossip. The woman had been the wife of a local businessman, and friendships and families had been blown apart as everyone took a side. Rex had sworn it was a mistake, and he'd never do it again. He'd begged Eve to take him back. Spyro had stood by them both, not taking sides, but making it clear to Rex what a fool he was, and to Eve that he would support whatever decision she made. The woman had left